I'm all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and welcome to another episode or podcast. Let's keep current of the Protégé Effect. Tonight, Billy is gonna present, but before I get to Billy, let me just thank our sponsors as usual. You all know Gerard, who runs the group for us from CNC Professional Machines. None of this could have been possible or would have been without him. So, as every Friday that we hear Gerard, we have to say thank you so much for what you do and keeping this alive for what you have done for us. Then everybody knows Anna Marie from Procurement for You. He has a brilliant and a full catalog of items that she supplies, and if you're not using it in your business, you are losing out. Then lastly, the main sponsor for tonight, which is a really nice one, is Roel van Rooyen from Huawei, a brand that's really known for their top-notch educational 3D models, and they are really a game changer in the laser cutting industry. They are really taking it by storm with their products going countrywide, and they are really doing well. And yes, that is it from the sponsors. And of course, what they have sponsored is a very nice lucky draw, which we will have during the course of the episode. And the only rule of the lucky draw is you need to be here. If you are here, you'll be entered in the lucky draw, and we'll have it in about the second half of the episode. And they have sponsored some very nice MDF sheets, which they will pack, cut to size for you, and ship to you. So
Premium quality.
premium quality. Thank you so much, Liana. So don't miss out on that. Stay. You're really going to learn a lot. Billy is going to entertain us. And while he does that, he will teach us a lot. We always learn quite a bit from that. So without further ado, turn mine off and over to you.
Good evening, everybody. So tonight you guys get to listen to me. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. I prepared quite a bit, but I'm not nearly as prepared as I would have liked to be. What we're going to do tonight is create the gears for a bicycle. So the gear at the pedal and the gear on the back wheel. I went with a 1:2 ratio so that when the pedal turns once, the wheel turns twice. So I'll explain a little bit more about that. But the challenge over here that I put for myself, and boy, it certainly was a mathematical challenge, because when you come to gears, and I'll explain that now, it's pretty mathematical to do them properly and right so that the gears turns a chain which drives the wheel. So not gear on gear like a lot of laser cut models do, but an actual gear with an actual working chain. And I wanted to make the gears and the chains as small as possible, or as small as humanly possible. And then I thought, don't say that, Billy, because Liana's going to see it as a challenge and make it smaller. So I made it as small as I am willing to work with my, I don't even have fat fingers, by the way. I made it as small as what I could find workable. And I'll show you some photos just now. They are really tiny parts. In the future, I think I would make everything, I'll keep the bolts and stuff the same, but I'm going to make everything a bit bigger just to make it easier. But I made it as small as what I possibly could for right now. So before we jump into Corel, if you go onto Google and you type in how to design a gear, you're actually going to get a lot of nonsense. And it's a pity. In the past, you would get a lot of good information, and you'd get technical drawing styled information that show you about the pitch circles, the modules, the everything of how a gear actually works. Now, when you go onto Google, with what's happened in 2025 is there's gear generators for games. So it's gears that work on 3D animations and stuff for games, for videos, for things. And it's not something, if you generate a gear from that and you laser cut it, the gears aren't going to work properly. They're not going to mesh properly. They're for other purposes. So you have to be very careful when you do go and search for information on them. Um, just to give you an idea, I hope that one works. When you go to college and you're studying drafting, one of the things in the exam is that you actually have to draw a gear by hand with your compass and uh, pencil, ruler, and draw it from first principles. So you can see, just if you look at that picture that's on my screen there, there's quite a lot of information that goes into designing a gear for gearboxes, for all kinds of things. And it's because they are such precision instruments with very fine tolerances. So if you're just drawing a gear that's got straight parts and stuff, the different things are not going to match up. I thought about taking you guys through the process of drawing a gear from scratch like this, and then I thought, sheesh, now we're gonna do quite a bit of mathematics, and we're gonna set up a spreadsheet, and we can do all kinds of fancy things. And I thought maybe we do that. Maybe we rather do that another time. I would have liked to also if I had more time to prepare, but like I said, I did run out of time. But we are in 2025 after all, so there are a bunch of free gear generators. Just be careful. Some of them say free, but the moment you want to download, then they do go and ask for money. So I think it was this one that I used. Yes. So this site, I'm going to stick it in the chat for you real quick, is a good one to keep. Ooh, I lost you guys. Chat, chat, chat. Um, This one is a nice one because you can actually download the SVG or a DXF. A lot of the other ones, they let you download a PNG, and then you have to go and trace it or do something else, and then you lose uh, a lot of the actual detail of the gears, and then they don't work properly. The other thing with gears is that if you have two gears working, you need to be very cognizant of the distance between the centers of the gears if you want them to mesh. And that's why a lot of time people are asking about, what do you put on? Do you put oil? Do you put grease? Do you put um, butter? I don't know, all kinds of weird things people put on. But if you get your center to center right and your gears and stuff are cut properly, they should just mesh, and you shouldn't have to do anything too fancy to them. So before I come in here to generate the gear, you'll see that it gives you a gear 1, gear 2, and we can put a bunch of information in here. But now, what do I put in there? There's a whole lot of things to fill in, and it's giving me an output, but how many teeth do I want? What's and the amount of teeth, how does that affect the total size of the gear? And if I change the total size of the gear, how does that affect the teeth, etc., etc.? So yeah, in so much as there's a nice calculator, you still need a deeper understanding of gears to know what you're actually going to be doing here. So I'm going to jump a little bit around. I'm going to go back to Corel. I'm going to just move all that away. I know that I am using diameter 4 millimeter M4 bolts, which have got the actual bolt thread itself has got a diameter of 4 millimeter. As a matter of interest, the head of the bolts are hex nuts, and they are 7 millimeters from the flat side to the flat side of the um, uh, hexagon. 7 millimeters from that side to that side of the hexagon if you measure with a vernier. If you are cutting little holes and stuff with your laser cutter, I found that 6.75 Corel 6.75 works well, because then with the tolerances and stuff that the laser cuts away and stuff, then you can make a little spanner, or if you want to press the little bolt in nice and tight into a little piece of wood, it works well to make it 6.75. That's just a little side snippet. The important thing is, yeah, that we need to know that the little shafts of my chain are going to be 4 millimeters. Now, I don't want to go and guess the size of the circle, because now what I could do is I could go and put the circle onto here, and I can try and guess how many are going to fit in, or I can go and do some mathematics. Let me just grab a Excel here quick. So we know that the bolts are 4 millimeters, which means the radius is 2 millimeters. Oops, 2 millimeters. I'm just going to put pi's formula in here. So I go equals pi, open brackets, close brackets, just so that pi is in there, so I don't have to type it out or do maths on that. And I decided that I want 30 teeth on my front gear. So now I'd have to work out what diameter would my circle have to be if I want 30 teeth and use a 4 millimeter bolt. So we know that circumference is equal to 2 times pi. That's not an equal sign. Huh? No, 2 pi r. 2 pi, 2 times pi times radius. Okay, so I don't know what the circumference is. So if I have 30 teeth, means I'm going to have at least 30 times those 4 millimeter holes in between the teeth. So it's going to be 120. So I'm gonna take a guess and say that that is equals to that times 3. So I'd probably need, I'm on my cheat notes here, you can see I had a diameter of 18.6. This gear had 30 teeth, and the smaller gear had a radius of 7.9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teeth. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, and 8. When we come back to our gear generator, I can say my gear tooth 1, I want 16 teeth. My gear tooth 2, I want to have 8 teeth. I'm not going to change anything on the module, the pressure angle, the clearance. The center hole you can change if you want to, but I normally go and delete whatever center hole there is anyways in Corel, and I put my own little things that I want to do there for my laser cut pieces. So I don't really care about the laser cut hole. If you're getting really fancy and you know what these things mean, and you're trying to make a gear that's matching a pre-existing gear, and you want 2 gears to mesh, you have to make sure that they always have the same module, the same pressure angle. You can't, for example, take a gear from one generator and a gear that was generated with a different module and then try and mesh them together. You also can't take 2 gears that have been made, scale one up, and then try and match it to the other one. There's very certain things on the way that the teeth, and that's on that module and pressure angle and clearance. So the best thing to do is, if you want gears to work, go into a gear generator. There are nice ones that you can generate 4, 5, 6 gears at a time. Generate them all from the same gear generator. Just change the amount of teeth in the gear 1, the gear 2, and leave everything else the same. Then you are 100% certain that the gears will in fact mesh when you do go and put your gears together or go and create a chain for them. I unfortunately could not find a chain generator. So this is what that I hit update, and then that's what the gears would look like. We can go down here and we can download a DXF or a SVG of those gears, and we then import them straight into Corel, and it will have all these nice curves and lines here that make that they just mesh into each other when they turn. Should the gears be straight, you get very limited parts of the gear that actually touch each other. So let me bring the original file in. And did I do a SVG? So it was called the Involute Gears 16 to 8. And over here you can see this is what it output for me. So when I bring in an SVG, you can try and unbreak it and stuff. I never suggest doing that. I just say go to your smart fill tool, pull them in, grab them, pull them apart, and delete the SVG. Sometimes ungrouping an SVG works, but you might end up spending more time actually trying to go and fix up the lines where it breaks the lines into a lot of parts, or the little circle becomes 360 small little pieces or something weird like that. Because you guys can see those lines still fine.
Yes, they're perfect.
Okay, so what I'm going to do over here at the top, I'm going to make my nudge distance 50. I'm going to select that gear and I'm just going to, maybe I shouldn't go 50. It's going to make the screen too small for you guys. We'll just go 25 because I'm just talking in concept anyways. Because I'm not going to have two gears meshing, I'm going to have a chain going around these gears. So here's where I had a lot of thought, where I sat staring at the screen. I had the Excel working, by the way, but I got to this point and I tried and I tried and I just couldn't think, how the heck am I going to get a chain to work around here? Because like I said, I simply could not find something for free that generates a chain for you, or to generate a chain in a format that would use for a laser cutter, because normally they engineered in machine shops and wherever they do chains. I don't actually know, but it's not something that you could just go and download very easily. So I thought to myself, well, I'm going to take my contour tool and I'm going to do a 0.25 mil contour, 0.25, 0.25 contour. Now I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to go to a 0.1, come on, 0.1 contour. I now need to make these lines smaller, unfortunately. Right. Okay, I did break it. Let's make that one a hairline. Didn't break it? No, it did. I don't know what it's doing. I did. They're just too thick. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want my little bolts to go and fit right into the bottom here. I want them to have a little bit of play. So I don't want to make my design such a tight tolerance, because I'm not working with steel and I'm not working with solid shafts that are going to hold these things 100% in place. I'm working with MDF. There's going to be MDF bushes and everything on this bicycle, and I'm exaggerating with my hands, but there is going to be movement. And if I make this thing work on 100% or a 99% tolerance or whatever, it will most certainly get stuck. The next thing I did as a cheat, because I don't know how to do it any other way, maybe somebody here can tell me when I get there. So I drew myself a line from that center. I drew myself another line from that center. Just need to make them skinny. And I'm just going to move these up as guidelines for my design and my drawing. And I'm going to draw my little bolts out with a 4mm diameter. Why is that looking so weird? Ah, I scaled it up.
That is also why your contour didn't work earlier on the value that you thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
supposed to.
So let me see, that was 48. So now this is a good show actually, because when you're scaling any of the gears, make sure that you select them both and then scale them both up. So I'm just going to make it to 48. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as the other one. It'll still work out because we're drawing it from scratch. I'll take my 4mm little circle and I'm going to drag it in as close as I can see with my eye to where it's touching that little contour line over there. What I did on the initial one there, I drew additional lines over here. There was points of intersection, and I did that, but I don't want to bore you guys with that. This will work out just fine still. But I wanted to see where is...
In my mind, I'm already drawing tangents and stuff to
Yeah,
make sure that that goes exactly
yeah,
where
so
it needs to go.
So then my question is, in AutoCAD, you have a function, you select circle, you say TTR for tan radius, you click that line, you say the radius is 2, and it automatically draws the circle in 100% perfectly for you. I couldn't find a function like that on Corel. I'm sure there might be an add-on or uh, somebody who knows a trick. If you don't know a trick, it's a challenge out there. Go and find out and come and show us. I bet you'll get a lot of bragging rights. Okay, once I've got that circle in there, here's a nifty trick that I love using is to select that circle, click on it a second time, and changes to the crosshair changes to a little target. Mouse over the target, which is on the center, click it, drag it to the center of your gear. I like using my dockers. The transformation docker is over here, is here on the side. If you want to find it, you can go and activate it up here at Dockers, and you can browse down till you find transformation, which is normally hidden under another one.
It's transform. It is selected there by you. The third one that is selected.
Oh, there. Alt F7 if you want to put it on manually with your keyboard. So I can now select that guy. I see that I've got my center point over there. I can say my angle. I'm not going to use Excel or a calculator. I'm going to say 360 degrees divided by 16. Because I've got 16 teeth on this one. I've already got one drawn. I only want an additional 15, so I put 15 in there, and I hit apply, and it goes and puts in an array in other software, what it's called. There are some other ways that people do this, but I find for this specific type of thing, I prefer using the transform. There's step and repeat, and there's blend, and a whole lot of other workarounds, but when you're working with this kind of accuracy, I find that it's best to use the transform. You can also copy paste, and just change by the angle every time. It's just we'll sit here till tomorrow. So I would really, if I were you, I would remember this transform tool, especially when you're working with circles, flowers, Mother Day's coming up, petals on a flower, whatever you need to do. Then what I wanted to go and do was to measure from the center of this circle to the center of that circle. It's 8.5. But in fact, I don't know why I did that, because I measured that and went and drew 2 new circles and then offset them. I can just Control and D and duplicate a set of circles, or I can Control C for copy and then Control V for paste. So I had my 2 circles apart there. So there's also a lot of ways you can do this. I drew a rectangle from quadrant to quadrant. I dragged the rectangle over to the side, and I did a 1.5 millimeter contour because I wanted the chain to be really tight. I didn't want to go 1 or smaller than 1, because then the laser starts burning too much away, and the thing becomes really, really flimsy. I cut some parts that had some bushes for this thing, and I had them at a 0.5, and it was hell. I decided, now just throwing away. It was too much. It was too finicky to work with, so I made another plan there. But 1.5 seemed to be a limit. It's already breaking my rule of never have a smaller offset than the thickness of your material. So 3mm material, stick with 3. The industry standard actually says, if you go with ISO standard, it says 1.5 times the thickness of your material is the meat that you should have. But I find that with the MDF and stuff, we're working with the laser cutters, at least one times the thickness of your material works fine. And in fact, this half was working good for something that's pretty functional. Right click on that contour line, break the contour apart, and I'm just going to delete that one. This is now, you can see over here, it's 7 millimeters. So I am going to make my corners 3.5. The reason I'm making it 3.5 is because it's going to make, sorry, my Corel is crazy. It thinks a comma is a dot, so that I can get those corners nice and round. The other way that you could have done that is to convert that to curves. You can select those 4 corners. You can shoot over to your corner Docker, and you can put a 3.5 radius. Oh, now it's going to give me trouble over there. Okay. It says that, oh, it's stuck to 4. Silly thing.
Yes, because it's 4.
I am the
Use the
silly
full
thing.
stop again instead of the comma.
3.5. Boom.
Is there a way to change that so that Corel works with the full stop and not the comma?
Yes, there
You'd
is.
have to
I
just
can
go in.
tell you a bit later when we're done.
Yeah, I must just go in there at
Please?
some point after I've
Because
been
that's
irritated
driving
for the
me
last,
mad.
the last 3 months I've been working on this laptop and I haven't changed it yet. And every day I say I'm going to, but yeah.
No, Billy.
And I swear to myself every day with this comma, I promise you.
Please
Okay.
just tell me how. When we're done, just tell me how.
So now it's looking more like the link of a chain. So I'm just going to use some artistic license here because I didn't go and study and see how a chain should be drawn. So I just thought, well, I kind of know what a chain looks like in my head. So I decided I'm going to stick with a 4 mm diameter. I'm gonna stick one over there. I'm going to stick one over here. And then I'm going to contour those two by the 1.5. Does it work if I do it with lots? Oh, I'm on fillet. I have done it before. Yeah, I think it should work. No, it doesn't like if I select two. Oh well, one at a time. Okay, so now I've got a whole lot of lines. Okay, so what the heck am I going to do now? So those aren't exactly joining and whatever. So that's where I just drew myself some cheat lines because I was lazy. Lazy to go and do research on how to draw a chain, that is. Let's make those nice and thin. So I drew all those lots of lines so that I have some construction lines so that to make my next part of my job much easier, which is this virtual segment delete, because I want to delete that part, all of that. I'm going to get rid of that. I want to keep that, and I get rid of those. Huh? Oh, those are still, I need to break these apart. They're still part of the contour. So if you see one of your tools isn't working, always go and check that your contour is broken apart. You can't edit the lines when they part of a contour. And it's something that in the 6 years I've been using Corel, I still forget on a daily basis.
Whenever you're done doing a contour, just hit Control K and it will break apart. I do it automatically every time I do a contour, then you don't forget
I do it
to break
automatically
it apart.
99% of the time. And there's always that one time where you sweat and stuff. So I now want to get rid of this here in the middle. I think you can see where this is leading to. So this one, I didn't delete my little circle. It's still part of that one. I can now do what Liana said, and I can go Control K or break apart. It'll break them into 3 separate curves, and I can now delete. Okay, I deleted an extra one, but it's fine. I can just, if I put that on the center and I mirror, it should work, eh? Control C V.
Sure.
There. Didn't. It's fine. I'll just drag it. Nah, it's going to irritate me. I'll do something else for you guys to. Let me just undo.
Smartphone tool would have done the job.
Sorry?
I said the smartphone tool would have done the job there.
It would have, yeah. Okay, so I've got this shape. I'm going to select them all, go over to my Dockers, Liana, and I'm going to apply a join curve. I like keeping a tolerance of 1 over there, and I'm just going to click join all. Why did these not join? Oh, there's double lines. Okay. I've joined them all, and I'm just going to zoom in over there because it wasn't use that little tolerance. Okay. I'm just gonna delete. No, that didn't work. What happens if I just drag it onto each other? You probably won't even notice that in real life, but I know it's there, and it'll cause
It will bug you
loss of sleep at
endlessly
night.
until it's fixed.
So there's much better ways of doing this. If you're using, I bet you in something like Inkscape, there's actual tools that you can do exactly this kind of thing that I was trying to do. Yeah, so into the background, and you can do a lot fancier things. I'm going to combine that with Control L. The other way I could have combined it is if you not good with the shortcut keys, you can right click and then say combine, Control L. And I'm just going to drag this. What was that angle just now? 16, 22.5. I just want to rotate this entire thing. 22.5 divided by 2. So let's say 22.5 divided by 2. Spare comma. Right. I can put that chain directly on there. I just need to get a center point for that guy quick. Okay, so you can see this little chain will fit nicely between there. So we're going to have one over there. I'm just going to cheat this along quick so we don't run out of too much time. Just to give you an idea, so that will fit all the way around. I'm going to go to my cheat sheet the one that I actually designed, and you can see that everything's going to work out perfectly. So then I went and I started, I put myself a 9mm by 3mm rectangle. The reason I use a 9mm by 3mm rectangle is because I know that when I cut it and I want to make a little bush or something that goes around, it fits nicely within a 10mm circle. In fact, you could, if you wanted to fit nice and tight, you could even go to a 9.5mm rectangle. And if I make this hairline, you'll see that it just goes over, but the laser cuts away most of that, and then it fits in nice and tight. It might be a little bit too tight depending on what your application is. So one of my standards is whenever I'm making holes or shafts, I've got a 9mm by 3mm shaft, and I can turn them into crosses. So 9mm is big enough that I can put a 3mm hole down the center, and there's still 3mm on either side. So that's pretty much the smallest that I go when I'm working with these kind of mechanical things. So I know that this gear is going to be moved by pedals. So that's why I made it a solid shaft in the middle and not a hole, because it has to spin within a hole. And this back one is going to turn the back wheel. So it must be fastened onto the back wheel, and those must turn within two other bushes, because this gear is going to spin and is going to spin that one. I placed out a bunch of these tiny things. They're 15mm by 7mm. And then I realized that with a small size, when I start putting this chain together, how am I going to keep those two center links apart from each other? And I'll show you guys the photos and the pictures and the videos now. And I almost came crashing down because, running out of time, everything. What am I going to do? I can't make bushes that are a mil thick, because then it makes the center of the bolt as thick as the outside of the chain, and it doesn't match the gears, and it's a whole redesign, and it's too big for the bicycle. And then I thought, well, what if I put something along the top of the see, here was the little bushes I made. Didn't work out. It's just too thin, that 0.5 mm gap between the inside and the outside. It looks like the laser cutter wants to catch fire. So I stood there looking at it like this, when every time I saw the flames, I'm like, woo, woo, woo. And then you actually see some little parts and stuff burn away. So don't do it. And I didn't have gaps in between them, so it was even more of a disaster as these things are falling into the honeycomb. So now there's all this wood in the bottom of the honeycomb, and the laser's going over and over, and it's like, ooh, this looks like fire. So I just canceled the job when it got to about 6 of them. I was like, nah, I'm not going to set anything on fire today. So I canceled that. And I came up with these little guys that are 8 mil by 3 mil. If you look at my video over here, you can see how tiny these little links are of the chain, just to give you an idea. So it'll fit on a nice small little bicycle. And you might not even see this. Those are the little parts that go on the top of the chain. So I didn't have a tweezer, so I had to employ my long nose pliers, and Tanya was looking after Storm, so she couldn't do the finicky work for me. So there you can see how small that little guy is, and I'll show you now where it goes on. Yeah, was the things that I used. I used super glue. I wasn't going to wait for wood glue at all to dry, and in fact, the things would move. I needed it to get it into place, get it stuck, and move on. It's just with wood glue, this would not have worked. These are 24 millimeter M4 bolts. I couldn't finish the entire chain because I brought 20 millimeter long bolts home, which means my gear then wouldn't fit into the center of the chain. So I got it as far as what I could for you guys. But yeah, you can see that's how I was putting these little spaces on to keep this link over here and this link apart. I didn't need to do it on both sides because I also don't want the stuff to interfere with the top of my gear as the gear comes through there. So I try to get them as far out of the way as possible so they don't interfere with the gear and they don't interfere with the chains on the side of them. So I put one on every other spot so that the chain can still move freely in all directions. There you can see there's a little completed chain. This can be a dozer track. It can be a nice track for a little bucky, for anything. What is this one? Is this still a picture? Just a little bit of a zoom in. So this is to demonstrate to you that the chain and the mathematics that I couldn't show you tonight actually works.
It works
Well done,
perfect.
Billy.
Jeez.
Because if that doesn't happen,
I'm already thinking about those construction vehicles. I don't know what you call them.
There are so many
excavators
places you
and
can and things you can make and use this.
Okay,
You can
Yeah.
make so many
this is a
interactive
good
toys.
this is a good
So
demonstration for, you can see I'm not even forcing it. It's just falling into place like a chain would. I was even playing, I even put it on my arm like a bracelet, and I was like, hey, I can make a biker bracelet from this thing. I bet you somebody would probably wear it to a fancy dress, painted gold and rusty, and you can get really fancy with this, but it works really well. And I was very chuffed with the first pass prototype of this. It was about 2 days of thinking about it and about 4 hours of work that I put in behind Corel to get this. And if I had to put time on the research that I'd done when I was lying in bed at night and the thinking time, there was probably another 2-3 hours that I was searching on gears and chains and how the different parts work together. Where is the chain? Let me stop sharing my screen so that you can see my video big. You guys can see my video? So
Yes,
you can see
perfect.
here's the little chain. You can wiggle. So I said you can make a nice little bangle. You can't really even see those small little things on the computer. They you see they're so tiny you don't even see them. So
Yeah.
I might even go with this because if you have it on there, I can't show you nice now. I must put this into 3D. That'll actually look nice if you put it on every one and you are making a dozer track, because it'll look like an extra, like the little teeth on an actual dozer track. So I might just keep those permanently as. So that was my process to get the gears for a bicycle. So obviously the next gear is going to go faster and faster because but yeah, it'll go better and better as I practice this more and more and start finding other ways of doing this. Just imagine, I'm thinking now, if you make a nice big clock and you have a gear in the middle with a little mechanism that sits, and you've just got a chain hanging and you just got this loose chain that's going around while the clock's going, or you have a chain moving around a clock with 4 gears and you have the numbers on the clock. So as it gets to whatever the time is in the center, it can be a 1, a 2, a 3, with a little circle. There's all kinds of things you can do for mechanical companies, for engineering firms, for steampunk is quite a big thing. But I promise you this though, that at 11 o'clock this morning, when I was sitting with this and I wasn't getting anywhere, my words to the people around me were, and it only works in Afrikaans, ek het nou 'n lat vir my eie gat gepluk. And everybody walked away. And they left me. I was like, come on, somebody out. And they just walked away.
I'm going to interrupt you guys quickly because...
because it's lucky draw time.
Lucky.
You have more names on the wheel than we have
I'm trying
on the participant list, but...
Let's go for it.
If somebody wins who's not here, and we can let them know you were there and you won and you're not getting it.
Yeah. That's mean.
All right, let's go for it. Let's see what happens.
Such a close one.
All right, there we go. Kim still with us.
Congratulations.
Kim, I'm going to put myself a number in the chat. Send me a WhatsApp, please, and then I'll get your address and everything from you, and and the size of the wood that you use in your laser cutter. Doesn't matter if it's 400 by 400, 600 by 600, or 900 by 600. Let me know, and I'll get the wood couriered off to you on Monday.
And that's so cool. Heidi or Heidi, I'm not sure how you prefer to have that pronounced. I see the whole family joined for the draw. That's awesome. Love that.
It's really, guys, it's really a lot of wood. When I carried it out to make the video, I was like, oof, I'm not doing this again. Next time I'll do this.
Oh, Raven, that was so close.
Would have been awesome to play with the wood, but like next time.
Next time.
The after party.
There you go.
Parties with all the good info in it usually.
So Liana,
die deel wat nie op YouTube moet kom nie.
Yeah. Getting back to the issue that you're having on Corel.
Carlo. I didn't say Holiki once.
You just
did.
Jy het
rarig nie.
You just did.
But we're in the after party now.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't count, yeah.
Yeah. So
well done, Billy.
Yeah, I was very confident when I said to you exactly how to change that comma to a full stop. But if I'm not mistaken, Corel takes that from your machine settings, your regional settings in Windows. So you need to go and check in Windows your regional settings and change that.
Ja, maar al die ander goed werk met die punt. It's just Corel that doesn't.
It's just Corel. Everything else is working. And that's what's confusing, because when you're in the regional language, you can change a comma and how your CSVs work with the semicolon.
Because I'm used to working on the numpad quickly. Dis net makliker en vinniger om daar te en dan sê klaar. En nou moet ek eers die kant toe gaan vir die komma elke keer, and it frustrates the hell out of me.
I'm going to Google it.
I must admit, my computer...
Ek weet nie hoekom het ek dit nog nooit gegoogel nie, actually.
My Windows backed up in the beginning of the year somewhere, and I loaded the new version. After I loaded the new version, I've had the same problem, and I've also just been hitting the full stop, getting out a couple of swear words, and then going to finding the comma. I suppose I need to change it as well.
Google is saying that, I'm just going to go check my regional and language anyways, because...
Yeah, in actual fact, as far as I remember...
Maybe the other programs are bypassing that and using the thing natively, and so I assume that it was, because I normally do.
Yes, I'm very sure it's the regional settings in Windows.
Okay. So I went here and I put in language because Billy was saying something about language and regional.
Ja.
So I just went to language. Oh, die muis wil nie saamwerk vanaand nie. Then I went to region. Then there's nothing there. So top right, you have additional daytime and regional settings. So I went there. And then it gives you.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you're in the control panel, not in the settings. Okay.
Yeah, it's by the control panel.
Okay.
Then you have the option date and time or region. So under region, go to change date, time or number formats.
Yeah.
Then it opens up a region dialog box with formats and administrative tabs, but there's still nothing there. And then there's additional settings boxy. And then you go to additional settings, and then decimal symbols at the top.
Billy, did you manage?
No, I was talking to Kim. I missed you.
Okay. So if you go into the control panel and in the search, you just look for regional settings.
Okay, let me go to. I think I. Okay.
Yeah, there's clock and region under the control panel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not in the settings.
Yeah.
And then we went change
date, time or number formats.
Oh, region set change date, time, number form. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Then it gives you. Then it gives you a dialog boxy that you can do nothing with except click on additional settings.
It is mine was a comma, but then the other softwares must be overwriting that.
No, it should not be a comma. It should be a full stop.
Should be.
Mine was a comma.
Yeah, and that's why you.
Yeah, mine was ook 'n comma. Mine was ook 'n comma. It's fixed now.
List separator.
Yeah.
Decimal symbol.
Yeah, so these.
Kill the comma, make it a full stop.
Ja, my Windows lyk glad nie soos joune nie, Liana.
Dankie.
So 'n klein dingetjie wat my so kan irriteer.
And I promise
So dankie.
I swore at myself 5 or 10 or 20 times every day and keep thinking, I'll do it now. I'll do it now. I'll do it now. I'll do it now.
I've been doing this
because you're just busy with something.
3 months, eh?
Yeah.
And I honestly thought it was a Corel setting because my Blender, for example, it works no problem with a thing in the calculator on Windows was working with a numpad, and so I didn't think it was that. But yeah, it just shows you.
The Corel developers probably thought, why should we develop that into Corel? We just get the settings from Windows.
Because when we were finished, oh, that's easy to change. I went Corel settings. I'm like, ooh, it's not where I thought it was.
Daar's hy. So jy moet gaan na die control panel toe, al die settings weg. Daar's hy.
Control panel.
En nou daar in die search type jy daar in regional. Waar is jou search? Daar heel bo regs.
Yes.
Maar daar's net region is 'n aardbolletjie. 1 2 3 4de kolom, derde van onder af.
Okay, maar nou is jy right daar so.
There. Change date, time or number formats.
Yes.
Ja, daai ene.
Yes.
And then additional settings.
Onder regs.
No, yeah, that's right. Additional settings and then you change that one.
That's it.
Ja.
Okay,
Apply and okay.
Dankie julle. Vir wanneer ek Corel gebruik net dit ook vir my so werk.
Daar het ons almal saam ons foute reggemaak.
Ja.
We must just remember to send Raven the invite for Wednesday. We've already spoken, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
Be preparing something.
Lovely. I can't wait.
You guys have to help remind her to remind me, because when Raven and I talk, we go down a rabbit hole and then time flies by.
That's true.
So we're talking about this, and we still have a few of our friends in the group. So yeah, Raven, you're gonna do a Inkscape session for us, but I know it's not going to be just one. There's no way we can cover Inkscape in just one session.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
So really looking forward to that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
our preparation is
Okay.
starting on
I'm
Wednesday.
looking forward to you guys as assistants. So yeah. It's quite nerve-wracking, hoor.
Ten minste kry jy assistance. My eerste ene was net soos Billy het gesê, Leona, Friday night you're doing this.
Like a few days
Be
before
ready.
the time.
Be ready at 6. Ja, en hy het my soos 3
kan.
dae tyd gegee. And he was
Jy
just like,
maar net ingeboelie, dit was die maklikste.
dit so.
Ja. Dit kan werk vir vir 'n paar mense, jy weet.
You know what was the best of all, Raven? When I spoke to Leona, she's like, "Oh, but I don't know what to do. I don't have anything to show. I don't." And
Oh my
look,
gosh,
we get
say.
the most info from
Yes. Sy het altyd baie om te wys. So ja.